US President Donald Trump has just redrawn the carefully crafted world order with his punitive tariff war against just about every other nation, with incomprehensible demands, it would seem. But this time, his weapon of choice, brutal tariffs, are hurting friend and foe alike, but callously are going to crush some of the world's poorest and war-torn nations the most. The world's poorest nations, war-torn countries, in fact, have been slapped with punitive tariffs. And the message from Trump is clear. He is not putting America first. He is putting himself first. Just think of it like this. Trump is basically throwing a big global trade party, but not everyone is invited. Some are forced to pay at the door. And the smaller, poorer guests, well, they are being charged the highest price. Just have a look at this map for now. It shows who has been hit and where. While Mexico gets a 90-day pass, Thailand gets a pat on the back, a 19% levy. But Syria, Myanmar, Iraq, even Sri Lanka, they have been slapped with some of the highest rates imaginable. That's on your screen. No explanation here, no room to negotiate. Just a velvet rope barring them from entering the party. And these are not necessarily global economic heavyweights, by the way. They are vulnerable countries. Many still reeling from war, from economic collapse, and have major humanitarian crises. To hit them with tariffs this high is not just aggressive, it's punitive. Because let's just take a moment here to just look at the numbers. At least in three countries at least, these new tariffs cut far deeper than just the trade margins. Syria, for that matter, has been slapped with 41% tariff. And this is a country that has seen 13 years of war. A war that has left the cities in ruins, hospitals bombed, an economy that barely functions. Millions rely on humanitarian aid. And now their exports will be taxed 41%, thanks to Trump. It's essentially a country that is on its knees and is being asked to pay for a seat it did not even ask for, in a way, at Trump's table. Similarly, in Libya, rival governments and militias are still fighting for control. Oil revenues are one of the few means of survival. A 30% tariff on exports just does not hurt businesses. It actually risks tipping an already volatile country deeper into chaos. In Sri Lanka, a country still recovering from its worst economic meltdown in history, the 20% tariff is like a gut punch. Remember, this is a country that is trying to stand up on its feet again after debt default, political crisis, mass protests. And now it's being punished further without warning and without a deal. And we're not done yet. Lesotho, for example, the tiny landlocked African country, was hit with the nearly highest rate ever proposed for any US trade partner, 50%. And now it has received a modified tariff rate of 15%. But for what? It's not clear. Just economic whiplash, it would seem, handed down by executive order. And these countries did not provoke a trade war, but they will have to pay the price for one anyway. This is Trump's party, and the weakest still pay the highest cover charge. And this is where the story gets even more political. Trump's tariffs are not just about protecting Americans. They are Trump's weapon on diplomatic retribution. Brazil, for example, gets hit with a 40% tariff because it prosecuted former President Bolsonaro for inciting an insurrection. Canada, it faces a tariff of 35% for supporting the Palestinian statehood. And when Trump wants a win, he dials it back, just like he did with Mexico after a call with the president. Meanwhile, three countries, Cambodia, Pakistan and Israel, have escaped economic pressure after showering praise on the US president. Cambodia, facing a brutal 49% US tariff, got the rate reduced to 19% after offering a Nobel Peace Prize nomination for Donald Trump. You might recall Pakistan and Israel did just the same. Israel faces 15% tariff and Pakistan, the global exporter of terror, faces 19% tariff. Trump calls it liberation. He wants Americans to believe that this is some grand rebalancing of trade relationships. He claims that other countries have looted America for decades. Just 8 countries, including the UK, Japan and Pakistan, have managed to cut deals. Dozens of others did not even get a chance. They just woke up one day to new tariffs. One might say it is Trump's country and his government. He is the host of this party. So in a way, he can call whoever he wants. But that's not how the world works, does it? And here's the problem in a way. The US can do this because the US dollar is the lifeblood of global trade. Remember, most international transactions run through the dollar. Most central banks of the world, in fact, hold the dollar. And if any other country explores any alternatives, like the BRICS, for example, discussing the possibility of a shared currency, Trump lashed out because if the world moves away from the dollar, the US loses its hegemony. So when Trump talks about winning trade wars, this is who actually loses. It's countries that are already dealing with inflation, with debt, with war, and now they face higher costs to export basic goods. And here's the thing, these countries had no part in the trade imbalances that Trump is actually talking about, but they will surely become the collateral damage in this battle. And at the end of the day, it will hit the pockets of American consumers. So yes, Trump's party is in full swing, but the price at the door keeps rising. It's not based on fairness or trade rules, it's based on Trump's personal politics. His grudges, it seems, and his belief that only the US gets to win. This is not America first, it's Trump first. And for the rest of the world that has not been able to cut a so-called deal, it's a party they never even signed up for in the first place, but will have to pay for. As starvation spreads in Gaza, Israel is being accused of turning humanitarian aid into a death trap, killing civilians who are simply trying to survive. At the very same time, far-right Israeli settlers are lining up at the border, calling for Gaza to be reoccupied. This is Gaza today, 662 days into the war, tents for homes, ashes where hospitals and schools once stood, and aid lines turning into mass graves. According to the UN, more than 1,000 Palestinians have been killed since May as they tried to reach food distribution centers. Most of the deaths occurred near facilities backed by the US and Israel, guarded by armed veterans and private contractors. At Khan Yunis's Nasser hospital, Palestinians gathered today again after a night of Israeli fire to mourn the dead.
We pulled the children out of the tent, and we found him and his wife martyred instantly, and the little girl also dead. This is the third one I've buried, and their father was martyred before. My son was a lawyer, he had nothing against him. My son was a lawyer, and he has nothing on him.
In Gaza, families are bidding goodbye to their children day after day as they are being killed in Israeli airstrikes. Israel claims that it's targeting Hamas, but rights groups are saying that the war is killing mostly civilians, many of them children. Already the United Nations calling Gaza the most dangerous place in the world to be a child. At least 90 children have died of hunger, most of whom died in the past few weeks. More than 90% of toddlers are not getting enough nutrition. Hospitals have been bombed, water, fuel, medicine have been cut off, yet humanitarian access remains severely restricted. The spiraling crisis prompting the main World Hunger Monitoring Body on Tuesday to assess that a worst-case scenario of famine is unfolding and that immediate action is needed to avoid widespread death.
From one place to another and from hospital to hospital, she stayed in the IMC for 8 months for treatment and she was improving. After the girl improved and when we went to Gaza City, to the north, bit by bit, her health condition worsened. She started having severe complications and her weight started decreasing. Her blood is currently 6.
As Israel starves Palestinians, the U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the U.S. Ambassador to Israel traveled to Gaza on Friday, where they inspected the U.S. and Israel-backed aid distribution system, the GHF, that has been facing backlash. In fact, the visit took place as Witkoff works on a final plan to speed up the deliveries to Gaza. According to UN estimates, Israeli forces have killed more than 1,000 people seeking food since May, most near militarized distribution sites of GHF. But the GHF denies that there have been deadly incidents at its sites and says that the deadliest have been near other aid convoys. In fact, just miles away at the Gaza border, a different story is unfolding. Israeli right-wing activists are rallying to re-enter Gaza and to rebuild settlements. They call Israel's 2005 withdrawal from the Strip as a tragic mistake, one that they claim led directly to the Hamas attacks.
A Palestinian state? Your country is a Palestinian state. You will not make Israel a Palestinian state.
Israeli ministers are also now openly calling for Gaza to be annexed. The finance minister says the return of Jewish settlements is closer than ever. But that's not the complete story from Israel. There is another kind of pressure building inside Israel. Families of hostages held by Hamas protested outside Prime Minister Netanyahu's office, urging him to make a deal for their loved ones' return. Some are now demanding a ceasefire. Others are saying the war is only costing more innocent lives and achieving nothing. In Tel Aviv, young Israelis are refusing to serve.
I am refusing because I can't be a part of the system which rules in the occupied territories in the West Bank. I can't be a part of the war in Gaza, of the misery and suffer caused to so many people.
As politics and protests continue in Gaza, children remain trapped between bombs and hunger, and now settlers are marching at the border as the world watches on in horror. What if human beings could switch off hunger, sleep through winter, or travel to Mars, like in science fiction? A new genetic discovery suggests that this is not just fantasy, it may be buried deep within our DNA. Our next report telling you what this is about.
Animals that hibernate are incredibly resilient. They can spend months without food or water. When the climate changes in some parts of the world, the conditions become extreme. They go into a snooze mode. The body temperature drops dramatically, metabolism and brain activity slows to a crawl. But the magic happens. When they emerge from hibernation, they slowly recover. Regain their body mass and strength. The weeks of hibernation also helps them recover from dangerous health changes. Similar to those seen in type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, and stroke, Researchers have now mapped the genetic instructions that enable animals like bears, ground squirrels, and mice to hibernate. Now a new study says that humans share shockingly similar hibernation switches, clusters of genetic controls that, in animals, permit bodies to slow metabolism, withstand famine, and heal rapidly. Evolution buried this circuitry in our anatomy, but it was never truly lost. Now, with the right trigger, scientists believe it could be flicked on once more. Imagine a future where trauma patients are cooled and placed into metabolic suspension to survive blood loss. The implications are enormous. Obesity and diabetes could be tackled by triggering a natural slowdown in the body's energy use. That's not all interstellar astronauts could sleep for years, surviving harsh journeys by mimicking the deep slumber of polar bears. This isn't science fiction, it's cellular fact.
A rare sight is unfolding in the heart of Kabul. A group of foreign tourists is exploring the National Museum of Afghanistan, all of them women, and leading them, a young Afghan woman. Our next report telling you how in a country where women's freedoms are tightly controlled, Afghanistan's female guides are challenging stereotypes, one tour at a time.
Her journey started with a simple search. She was looking for ways to improve her English when she discovered an app that connected travelers with locals. Out of curiosity, she hosted a guest and showed them around her hometown in western Afghanistan.
And it was built again during the time of the Amanullah Khan, the king of Afghanistan.
What began as a language exercise turned into a calling. Her name is Somaya Moniri. She's 24, and she's one of the few female tour guides in a country where women's freedoms are extremely constrained. Somaya believes Afghanistan is more than war and repression. She wants the world to see its beauty, history, and resilience, and hopes. Every tour reshapes a few perceptions.
Whenever I myself saw that it's not whatever the people or the society says about Afghanistan or the media says about Afghanistan, all this negativity, it's not all that. Yeah, there are, we can say there are both. Also the negativity and also the positivity, both of them exist. So, but the focus on positivity were less, and not a lot of people talked about it.
One traveler from Australia is finally visiting a country she dreamed about in the 1960s. She says the experience has been deeply rewarding, a chance to witness a culture she's long admired from afar.
Oh, I think it's wonderful. I've wanted to come here for so long, like 1966, when everybody else was coming and I was too busy having babies. So to finally get the chance to come to this country, which has got such an amazing history, I think is a real privilege.
Decades of conflict kept tourists away from Afghanistan. And when the Taliban returned to power in 2021, fears grew, thousands fled, but the violence has slowed. Attacks do still happen, mostly from Islamic State-linked groups, and Western nations continue to warn against all travel. But some adventurers are still coming. Tourism remains small, but it's growing. Travelers from China, Greece, the UK, and the Netherlands are now booking guided tours. The Taliban government is encouraging the trend.
I truly believe in ethical tourism. I mean, I work in countries like North Korea, and so I believe that you can divide, politics and people, and that is the main thing for me, is that a country is not a sum of its politics. It's a sum of so much more. It's a sum of its culture, its history, its food, and especially in Afghanistan, its people.
With global recognition still out of reach, with only Russia formally recognizing them, Taliban officials see tourism as a chance to boost the economy and soften their image. Visas are easier to get. Flights connect Kabul to major cities like Dubai and Istanbul. But lack of basic rights for women have sparked global outrage. Girls can't study beyond primary school. Women face strict dress codes and can't enter parks, restaurants, or salons, and only a handful of jobs remain open to them. Bureau Report, WION World is One.